y'all because just trying to speak, it was like going in and out and acting up. But I wanted to domination spells, sympathy spells, and narcissistic tactics in the development of witch covens, because this is something that's a lot of people need to really understand, as especially because I know that there's a lot of young women too that listen to my channel, and I know that you guys want to, you know, you want family and sisterhood and stuff like that, and you get involved with these groups and shit like that, and by the time you know it, you're in the middle of sacrifice, or you're getting gang stalked and shit like that. For my situation, it wasn't like that. I was never a part of no covens. I was never doing any spell work. I was never doing any of that shit really at all. It was one single female that I put out of my life, and then she decided that she was gonna organize it against me, and that shit backfired on her ass, and now she's facing charges and as well as her early death. So these karmics, when they want to go build covens, the thing about a coven is only as strong as its members, right? So a lot of the times when you're dealing with people who covens, like real covens, you won't know about them. You won't know. And because real covens, they assemble for specific purposes. You may see one or two of the coven members really close, but the whole group, they'll kind of be parsed out and they'll get for a certain. The younger generation, a lot of them, they are building covens out of need for protection, out of trauma bonding, out of codependency and mental illness. It's this, I took a religion class as well as an abnormal psychology class at the same damn time. So the parallels were ridiculous in both of the classes. So that's why I can speak on this too. And this was at the city college. They give free, you can go take free classes. So I was like, fuck it, let me take classes at the city college. It's free. So when a lot of the times when I was learning about groupthink, sociopathy, a lot of the times we'll be learning about certain things in religion that I was like, oh shit, look at this. So there's a religious sociologist, Emil Durkheim, and he talks about how religion gives people a sense of meaning. Covens and things like that give a sense of meaning. Ritual gives sense of meaning and purpose and belonging. So that's why people inherently join these different groups and things like that. It's really kind of less about the spirituality, but more about the gathering, the fellowship, quote unquote, right? So for a lot of these karmics, they get together with covens and things like that because it's oh, okay, friends, and we can do witchcraft and shit like that and protection, and well, there's other bitches that are doing it, so there's nothing wrong with me, right? But remember, birds of a feather flock together. So one ill bitch, two ill bitch, three ill bitch, four, right? So that's the whole purpose when they're doing this covenant fuckery these days. Now, some of the times, in order to build these covens, some of these karmics, they try to recruit people like have a energy, a charge that can help power their spell work. It's called being a talent, right? So some of them will utilize glamour, narcissistic tactics, hovering, trying to get around you and pull you in and things like that to be part of the coven because they know your energy is strong. And oh, yay, Nikki, I'm happy to hear that. So this is the thing. Older women, they were like, hey, you can have a free membership at the Impact Hub, or hey, come here, do this, hey, do that. And I felt like they would support me and stuff like that. But I felt like now that I see it, they were trying to groom me to be a part of their coven, but when they saw that I wasn't down to fuck, or when they saw that I wasn't ignorant, or when they saw that I wasn't like wanting to be broken or damage my body or be addicted to shit or stuff like that, then that's when they turned on me, right? So even with these covens, there's like a certain level of dysfunction that you have to be involved in to even get involved in some of those groups, right? So with nowadays, what's happening is people are using domination spells and conflict spells as well, separation and isolation and shit like that to try to get people into the coven. Then they're using domination spells to bring people in and do as they say and build their coven. Especially for some of these karmics that are getting expelled from covens where there's older witches and shit like that were giving them stuff and they were misusing and abusing it and causing problems. They're getting kicked out of the coven, and now they're using spell work, domination spells, and hovering tactics and narcissism and lies and slander to build a new coven to protect themselves. Because a lot of these karmics, they join covens to attack people, really, because it gives them a sense of power and protection. But then as a part of that attacking, they build enemies. You see that? Because as they're attacking certain people, they're building enemies for themselves. It's always like that. So what's happening now is a lot of these karmics, a lot of people don't know that they're only a part of groups and covens because there was magic being done on them. And I'm gonna give you an example. You clearly see it here on YouTube. That karmic, the ass eater, she went to go recruit the Jezebel orangutan using domination spells and shit like that because she knows that she's weak. She knows that she's gonna be the one to talk. She knows that she's gonna want to spill garbage out of her mouth, all that stuff. So perfect, right? She did it to another reader too, but this one, she took advantage of her because she knew that she was going through grief, and took advantage of that. Very manipulative. They always are looking for an in. That's the primary requirement, like I'm telling you, right? Hence why they try to put me on the table, because they couldn't find an in with me. They couldn't find a weakness or a soft spot, or they couldn't exploit something that I was going through because I was resilient, right? And even all the older women, I was more resilient than them because they couldn't even get their shit together when I was over here busting moves, moving mountains and shit like that. So they're like, oh fuck, we'll just use her for the ritual instead, since she doesn't want to be a part of the coven. So that's what's happening right now too. So what's going to start happening is a lot of people are going to start to, because what's happening is a lot of these covens are getting dismantled, or they're losing their power, or they're going through tower moments, or they need people for ritual, so to pay the piper or pay the entities that they hold on for fame and shit like that. So they're recruiting more people, but they don't give a fuck that these other people are gonna get sacrificed or pick up karma. They're like, well, you should know better. You should have discernment. So it's like this fucked up trick. Like, you should know better, because by the time you get in bed with the devil, it's too late, right? So a fan base can be a coven too. I see that with the whole Beyonce shit. And I see that. That's why even when, like, with my group here, with my collective, when they start stuff, you guys always hear I tell you, don't get involved, don't comment, don't focus on that fuckery, because that's not what we're on. We're focused on high vibrational energy. So there you go right there. So, and that's another thing too, for them that have platforms and shit like that, they're using their platforms to siphon energy and harvest energy and run glamour spells and stuff like that. That's what they're doing, because that's how they feed the entity. They put out these messages, or they say, oh, this many people are going to die in this area at this time with this disaster. That's how they feed the entity as well, on top of building the coven. It's a multi-layered strategy, all because people are broke spiritually. See how much work you have to put in when you play with the devil, rather than just praying and working with the Most High. And it's kind of like that delayed gratification, but you get more in the long run. You see, you get way more in the long run. It's way more sustainable, because you have to keep on doing shit to keep the magic going. And then that usually means trauma and sacrifice and ritual. Okay, so that's the trifecta. That's, instead of the regular alchemy where it will be salt and sulfur and mercury, it's trauma, it's confusion and chaos, and ritual. It's trauma, it's ritual and sacrifice. Okay, a different type of elements. So as time goes on, what's happening now is a lot of these karmics are getting exposed, their covens are getting dismantled, they're losing their power, they're trying to rebuild and shit like that. People are gonna start waking up to the game like, oh, this bitch put a domination spell on me. Oh, you put a domination spell on me, bitch, because you thought I was gonna come join you to so you can get out of jail time, or feed your entity, or get your kids out of the sacrifice that you sold them into, playing with people, that type of stuff. And a lot of the time too, they're looking for people that haven't had children yet, so that the entity can utilize those people that they bring into the coven to birth sacrifices. And I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. I saw this today perfectly. I went to the store, the store, to go get something, and I saw a pregnant lady. She was sleeping inside of the store on the bench, and her boyfriend was like handling some stuff with his phones. And the minute I came in the store, she sat right up and we started talking. She was a Pisces, I'm a Virgo, so we were vibing and shit like that. We were talking. She had a daughter named Jupiter, and she was pregnant with twins. Her belly was huge, and she was only 20 weeks. So we started talking, and I was like, breaking down some information, and we were just going back and forth. And she was like, me and my boyfriend, we went to New Orleans, and it was during Mardi Gras, and a man gave me a purple eggplant, like a golden eggplant, something. And she said that in that moment, another man came right behind and was like, why do you have that? Get that out of your hand. And they're like, why? What is it? It was a curse. It was an infertility spell that was given to her. 6 months later, she had a miscarriage at 16 weeks. Now she's pregnant again with twins, So it's like, it was so crazy, because it's like that baby was supposed to be there, but that magic that she had gotten from that person, it's like the child that she had gotten pregnant with and had a miscarriage with was a sacrifice from that spell. And as we were sitting, it was 144 people in the chat as I said that. And as we were sitting there talking about it, I can clearly see in her eyes, she was starting to put two and two together. It was kind of like the Most High kind of put me in that situation to help her to connect the dots in terms of, this is why that happened, So, hey, Chicago Tarot. So, yeah, They bring people in like or people who have children, female children, virgin energy, not divine feminine, but just like not haven't had a first child or something like that yet, because the Venusian energy is still pure. Because even karmics have Venusian energy. Karmics have Venusian energy, divine feminines have Venusian energy. It's just that they manifest theirs in the reverse. It's still Venusian though, and it can still be used to manifest, right? Because Venus is a very powerful planet. Even though people, if you understand Venus, you understand Venus is a very powerful planet. So yeah, yeah. Be careful now. Even with their come to our retreats and shit like that. Be careful with that shit. They're trying to get you tied into shit. They're putting shit in people's drinks and food, trying to get people tied. They're desperate as fuck right now, desperate. And be careful, because that's how you get the invocation. It's the drink. They'll bring you, come and drink this cacao. Come and drink this whatever. Come into this sweat lodge. That's how you get invocated and shit like that, and get tied to them with their toxic ass DNA. Next thing you know, you're being used as a Horcrux. We talked about Horcruxes. Horcruxes in the Harry Potter saga is basically inanimate objects that can be used to store spirits, store an aspect of a soul. So I want to live for a long time. I split my soul into 7 pieces like a fucking demon, right? I remove myself from the tree of life. Now I'm a time lord, but I place my soul in different objects. So if you blast and destroy that object, that's the only way you can destroy me. That's how Lord Voldemort kept on living even after he was touched, because he tried to kill Harry. I remember that's what destroyed him and took his power. So then he was only an apparition, and then he was able to get a body later on, right? So he stored himself in Nagini the snake. He stored himself in the Goblet of Fire. He stored himself in the Sorcerer's Stone. He stored himself in 7 sacred objects. These karmics are using individuals as objects, and the way that they get in and they're able to use these people is through the weakness of the mind or a hurting heart or things like that. And it's very demonic and low vibrational and toxic as fuck. Don't invite me. That's what I said. Don't call me. They know now. All of a sudden, I'm gonna keep it hella real with you. And this is kind of unrelated, but now they're adding me to all their mailing lists. They're adding me to all their emails. People I haven't talked to in 3 or 4 years now. You guys, you see what I'm saying? Because the Coven got exposed and everyone's seeing it. Everyone's seeing it now. I'm telling you the honest to God truth. Whole organizations that were organized against me, adding me to their list and shit like that. I'm telling you the honest to God truth. I haven't heard from them in 3 or 4 or 5 years because the Covens are getting exposed. That's why. Now people don't look like they want to. Now people want to separate themselves because all the witches and the professional people got intermingled, and now they're trying to separate themselves because rituals are backfiring and people are getting karma. So that's another thing too. These karmics are looking for unsuspecting people who are naive and want to know about spirituality and their ancestors and shit like that. Yeah, be careful. Be careful, because these motherfuckers are rock bottom and they're desperate to stay out of the grips of the devil. They're desperate to stay out of the rituals that they're planning for people. They're desperate to not get exposed. Hell nah. It ain't fit to happen. And it's like you keep on having to dig a deeper trench and shit like that. That's why that's what I'm saying. When you want to dig a grave for somebody else, bitch, you better bring a shovel for yourself too. And you better be digging for yourself. You better dig yours if you're going to dig mine. Guess what? You're going to get in yours first. Get in yours first and let me see how you feel about it. You don't like it? Okay, so then I'm not getting in this one. Let me go on my business. That type of shit right there. Yes, Jessica Simpson. I love that. Yes. Powerful. So look, that's the metaphysical talk that I had for you all tonight. Deep, right? Yeah, dropping real knowledge. But on another path too, even some of these covens are churches too. Then they get you to tithe. And another thing too, with some of these covens, they offer shit like, oh, we'll give you this, we'll do that. You can come here. That's how they get you wrapped in, because you create a tie. You create an oath or a pact by the energy exchange with currency or with whatever they give you, whatever trip or whatever trinket or whatever. That's how they get you tied into the ritual. That's how they get you tied into selling yourself. By the time you know what you're in too deep. And they're like, well, you knew what you were getting into when you should have known what you were getting into, or you should have asked more questions. No, bitch, you should have known. You should have stopped trying to be a snake to people who you knew were naive. That's another thing too. Some of these karmics are getting under judgment because they were fooling some pure spirits, people who didn't deserve to be tampered with or manipulated and shit like that in their time of need or in their time of hurt. That shit is fucking disgusting to me. It really is. This retrograde is lit. So you guys, discernment game gotta be strong. Yeah. I just kept myself out the loop because I was like, nah, 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 nah. Yeah, next thing you know, the fuck, I'm in somebody's fucking ritual. Like, damn. It's like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. Damned if I do, if I don't, yeah. Damned if I do, if I don't, yeah. Damn, damn, damn. And it's a goddamn shame if you ain't front line, get out the goddamn way. That's another thing too. Some of these karmics are trying to build covens to go against frontline warriors for the real spiritual fight, and they're fighting over petty shit like dick and money and attention and other people's energy. Imagine starting a fucking spiritual war over someone else's destiny and energy though, and then getting fucking bamboozled and lambasted and shit like that with karma, only to find out that there's a bigger war that's about to come and you ain't even equipped. And at this point in time, you're a prisoner of war. Period. It doesn't matter what side you on. Shit. 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 Let me tell you, I bake cakes too. Hey, embodied Rakib, I love it. Yeah, this is a real download tonight. That's why I say I'm gonna put a lot of these on my Patreon, because I'm gonna start a war with this. Hey, what's Judah? We don't got differences. You're so funny. Vinod Kumar, you are so funny. I'm telling you. Her so cute. I'm in the tub. Hello. I be getting so many downloads that I had to just put this out. But yeah, you guys, that's what I have for you tonight. Is 222 people in the chat and 60 slights. I swear we be playing the angel lottery on my channel. It's like we stay hitting with the numbers. Anyways, that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoy. Good night.